Hello people, this is episode 3 of Geekly Weekly. This week we just discussed everything Heartstopper, from the books to the show to the audiobook of Nick and Charlie I listened to the upcoming movie that I will just talk about how I'm excited for and what I think it's going to be. I started a new segment called Let's Talk Letterboxd, where I ran through my Letterboxd top 4 and spoke about every movie I watched. So incoming is some spoilers of Heartstopper as a series, as the books, especially the last book, and the movie. Even though I have not seen the movie, I know what's going to happen. So spoilers for that. If you don't want to know any spoilers for Heartstopper, then sorry. I'd love you to watch anyway, but spoilers are spoilers and I understand. I hope you enjoy and have fun. Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 3 of Geekly Weekly. I apologise for the wait between episode 2 and episode 3. I just sort of got busy, didn't know what to do. I filmed a bit of an episode, but then I just technical difficulties, so I just gave up. Went into a bit of a slump and then just didn't come back, but we're back once again, episode 3 of Geekly Weekly. And as you would see, I don't know if you've been watching the last 2 episodes, but I've got something new on my face. I've got glasses now because I've never realised I was blind till I got my eyes tested. Turns out my eyeballs are not great. So I've now got glasses and we've got the iPad once again because you'll never guess, I've got notes for this episode. I thought if I'm going to come back, we're going to come back with a bang. This week, as you will know from the intro, we are going to be talking about Heartstopper as a collective. I am currently rereading and rewatching. I have not started the reread yet, but I've started season 3 already. I've watched season 3 already. I've only been doing this for 2 days. And I've listened to Nick and Charlie on audiobook, and I've got, was it A Winter's Day or something? The winter one. I've got that booted up, ready to listen to whenever I need to. So yeah, we're just talking about everything Heartstopper to get ready for the movie on Friday. Today is currently the 14th, so the Tuesday. So if this comes out a day late, so if it's now Wednesday for you, I do apologise, but I tried. Right, where do we start? All I will say to start is I love Heartstopper with all my heart. I've loved it for years. I sort of was really big into it about 4 years ago, and then I sort of fell off of it, and I finally came back into it, and I remember how much I love it. It's great. I'm enjoying the TV show so much. I watch it every day. I watched like a whole season in one sitting at this point. It's just great, and I cannot wait for this film. I've read the 6th book, which we'll get to. Read the 6th book. I'm excited. So excited for what's coming. First, I just want to talk about like how me reading the book impacts the excitement, because I nothing will ever make me not excited for this film. But knowing what's going to happen sort of offsets the nervousness I had towards the movie, because I'm going to be honest, I did not know how this was going to end. I was expecting something big and dramatic, but we didn't get that. I think the end of the 6th book is pretty mellow and pretty. I don't want to say they were boring, because I think it was great for what it was, but nothing really happened. I do sort of wish we had a big splash. I just saw a TikTok a couple minutes ago saying that Kit Connor, who plays Nick Nelson, said that they thought they should have had Charlie and Nick cheat on each other. Right, Kit Connor, I love you as this role. I think you're the perfect Nick Nelson. No, absolutely not. That is not happening. I refuse to believe that should happen. No, 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 no. Nope. What I will say is, as much as I did love the 6th book, and it was a really easy read, I sped through it, I read it in one sitting, the ending did feel a bit lackluster to me. It just sort of ends with them in Nick's uni room, just flicking through an old book of memories, which I get is a meaningful end because you're looking back, but I still do think we could have had a big splash, like a proposal. I for a second did think they were going to break up. Obviously they did not. But for a second, I was under the belief that they were going to break up or get married, or one of them was going to die. The ending was just pretty sentimental, which, you know, I don't hate. The ending is very, very romantic, which I love, because I'm a sucker for anything even slightly romantic. I love that, and everything to do with it. Anything romantic will get me in the feels. And I do love that. It is a big part of the experience for me, is anything romantic will get to me. The show does sort of evoke a lot of emotions for me, but I will try my hardest not to trauma dump on all of you. So, yeah, it's a very good book, I will say. Right, so on the topic of books, we will now dive into Nick and Charlie, the audiobook. I've seen a lot of hate online for it because the character representation in the books feels quite different to what we expect, because in this audiobook, Charlie is very sloppy, and he drinks a lot, and he's quite mean to Nick. And same thing really with Nick. Nick's sort of out of character. They get rude. I think he tells Tao to fuck off or something like that. They're both very out of character. But what I think people are forgetting to remind themselves of is that both of them are teenagers. And I think the main thing about teenage storytelling is you go through weird moments. You go through bumps and blisters of time where you're just not acting like yourself. I should know I'm in this teenage years right now. I'm only 17. And trust me, I act out of character a lot. But you do just see teenagers do lash out and do things that aren't like themselves when faced with hard times or struggle in general. And I think that is a very main part of this book, is that you see them acting out of character, but that is a teenage thing to do. Do Nick and Charlie act a bit strange? Yes, because they're teenagers, definitely. If they were 37, if they were both 38 and 37, I think we'd be like, this is not the people we know, but it's because they're both, 17, 18? Oh no, yeah, 17, 18, so Nick's 18 and Charlie's 17, something like that. They're acting out of character. It happens. People do it, especially teenagers. Yes, Charlie acts out of character. That's why it's a fascinating story. You see them acting differently, which gives you more storytelling. Instead of going along the same road of narrative, you can explore a different emotion. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the book. Basically, Charlie is becoming sort of depressed that Nick keeps talking about uni, the fact that he's going to move away, and he doesn't want to say anything, and he keeps it bottled up and bottled up and bottled up until it's solved. And they do have a moment where they both believe they've broken up. Now, all I will say is I know for a fact that this book is set before Volume 6, which I read before I listened to this audiobook. So it took some of the suspense out of it for me, because I knew for a fact that they were going to go back together or they weren't going to break up, because in Volume 6 they're fine and they're together and they don't break up by the end of Volume 6. So I think that did take away a little bit of the drama for me. It still made me cry. I was not aware audiobooks had the power to do that, but I learned quickly that audiobooks have the power to do that. Another thing I want to talk about with the audiobook is obviously Nick and Charlie aren't played by Kit Connor and Joe Locke. Genuinely did not bother me at all. I thought it was going to feel weird and out of character, but it didn't. I loved the voices. I think I have heard the voices before on TikTok snippets, because this book does have some very famous lines in it that people use for TikTok sound. So I'd heard the lines before, so I think that is another one of the reasons that the voices didn't bother me almost at all. But this book did tug on my heartstrings for personal reasons, which I won't go into for this podcast because it's just like relationship stuff to do with me and people, so you don't need to know about that. I won't bore you with the details. But just, yeah, this book did definitely tug on my heartstrings a little bit. And, it happens when you get something that means a lot to you and something that you've been through, it does sort of strike the emotions a bit more than the average story. And, Heartstopper is important to me, and it was important to me when I was in a relationship, and it was important to the person I was in a relationship with. But we're past that now, so I am able to enjoy Heartstopper as a solo, which I'm surprised at and I'm happy at, and I'm proud of myself for that. But I will stop going into personal details with you now, because not a single person in the world wants to hear about that. I am definitely getting it back into it a lot. I'm falling back in love with the show and the characters and everything. I'm finding myself back in the same place I was, that I'm loving the same characters, I'm liking the same characters. Everything is sort of slotting back in place with me, and this is a very important franchise to me. I've come back to decide. I've come back to realise that this franchise has always been important to me, and it will be important to me for a very long time. So I'm very passionate about this franchise. I love the story telling, I love the books, I love the show, I'm probably going to love the movie. Everything about it is fantastic, genuinely phenomenal. I love I love most of the characters. The show really does get to me emotionally, again for reasons that I will not go into, but the show is just fantastic, and the books are fantastic. I can't wait to reread them. I'll probably read them all in 3 days' time. The next episode of this podcast will probably be about the movie. This franchise does really mean a lot to me, and there's a lot on the line that if they fuck this up, I will be miserable and devastated. But yeah, back to the movie at hand. Heartstopper Forever, which has not come out yet as of the 14th of July. Comes out on Friday, so it comes out in 3 days' time, in which I have to finish season 3 of Heartstopper and probably read a couple of the books. I'm very much looking forward to this movie. I really am looking forward to what's going to happen. I do know what's going to happen, so that doesn't really stifle my excitement too much. I am really looking forward to seeing it play out on screen and seeing it play out with Joe Locke and Kit Connor. The book to show adaptation is pretty close to what I remember. I haven't read one of the books in a while, other than Volume 6. But to my knowledge, the book to show adaptation is pretty close, and I don't think they'd change something as big as the ending of the book to the show. I think that'd be a bit rude. I mean, if they pull it off, they pull it off either way. But I'm very excited for the movie because I'm very excited to see how they pull everything off. But other than that, I just sort of know what's going to happen, so the excitement is still there, but it is a little bit dulled. With I'm excited about different things. I'm excited to see how they adapt it as opposed to what happens, if you get what I mean. So it's like with the new Invincible seasons that come out every year. I know what's going to happen. I'm just very excited to see how they adapt, if you get what I mean. So yeah, talking about the show, I will just talk about seasons 1 and 2 because I think I've seen the first episode of season 3 and that's it. Obviously, I've seen it all before, but not for a very long time. I cover bits and pieces of what happens from the books and from the show. I am looking forward to finishing the 3rd season. I will finish it probably today or tomorrow. Jesus. I don't know about today. If I watch a lot of it today, I might finish it today. Finishing it today is a bit ambitious, but finish it tomorrow is definitely going to happen. I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving it. Season 1 I thought I was going to find season 1 a tad boring, but I really didn't. Season 1 is fantastic as well. As much as I like a slow burn, as much as the rest of us like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Jake Peralta, Amy Santiago, slow burn, took 3 seasons for them to get together. I love how Heartstopper is just the first episode, second episode, third episode together. It's great. I felt I was gonna know this story like the back of my hand and see all the twists and turns come in and be like, this is boring, I've seen this a million times before. But I really didn't. I really enjoyed watching it again. I feel like it's one of those TV shows I'll probably watch hundreds of times in my lifetime. I'll probably still be watching it when I'm 47 and being like, oh my god, Nick and Charlie are finally together after 3 episodes. It's a great show. I see people saying that there are cringy moments, but 1, there are cringy moments in most shows, and 2, being a teenager in love is cringy as fuck. So yes, this show can get a bit corny and a bit cringy and a bit sappy, but being in love as a teenager is corny and cringy and sappy. So it's a really good representation of that. There's a really good representation of most people on the LGBTQIA plus spectrum, sexuality spectrum. There's obviously very good gay representation of Charlie Spring, lesbians with Tara and Darcy. I love Tara and Darcy. Bi, Nick Nelson, obviously. Bisexuals rise. LGBT trans, so obviously Isaac with the asexual and is it aromance? Sorry if I mispronounce these. I'm not sure about how the pronunciation of most of them, but yeah, the asexual and aromance with Isaac is good representation. It's a good, you can tell, I'm pretty sure, please, if this is wrong, I do apologise. Pretty sure Alice Oseman, the author of the book, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name, I believe she is also asexual and aromance. You can tell that she put in a lot of storytelling with his identity, which is not a bad thing at all. Again, back to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The only reason Rosa Diaz is bisexual is because Stephanie Beatrice is, and the actress is bisexual, so the character is. It's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining about it. I love education about any sexuality there is. But you can tell that they put a lot more care into his storytelling because it reflects the authors, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful storytelling. Season 2 is even better. The 3rd book has always been my favourite, so The Paris Trip is a great book to show adaptation. So the 3rd book is my favourite, and so the 2nd season might be my favourite. I don't remember. Trying to Come Out to Everyone is great. It is a very accurate representation, and I love everything to do with I love how true it is. I love I hate saying high school. The secondary school stuff is very real. I don't have a complaint. The only, I think, miscommunication in the show is how homophobia works in British secondary schools. There's a lot of homophobia in the show that feels old. So maybe she's drawn from experience from her days. I don't know how old she is. I think she's pretty young. She looks pretty young. So I'm not sure how old she is. I'm not sure when she was at school. But some of the homophobia feels a little bit dated. Like when Tara and Darcy come out, someone in school says, "Stop! I don't want to catch the lesbian disease," and I haven't heard that. I've heard a lot of homophobia towards me and my friends from secondary school, and I never heard disease really. And also, one of the things I love is Charlie Spring's mental health is represented beautifully in this show. I feel quite close to both Nick and Charlie as a character. I've always thought I am a sort of mix of the both. I think I take the good from Nick Nelson and the bad from Charlie Spring, and that's me. But I've always thought then I've also taken the mental stuff from Charlie Spring a lot. Like I can relate a lot to his school experience. So I feel like that show is a little bit more close to me because I feel represented by Charlie Spring's character. And I mean, I love it. Charlie Spring's character is one of the best parts of the show. And he's the main character pretty much. Him and Nick are the main characters. And there's a lot of, you can tell, this is some of the best teenage acting from people that are not teenagers I think I've ever seen. Nick Nelson's character is also great. I love the character development from him being a rugby boy, but he never really seemed bad. They never really specify if he was a homophobic person or anything, but they always sort of just dance around the fact that he was a rugby boy and he looks straight, he feels straight, and he's then obviously coming out to people. And I can't remember what happens in season 3. I do apologise. I will get back to you. I'll probably talk about season 3 and probably the books in the next episode, as well as the movie, which I'm very excited for. Depends on when the next episode comes out. The next episode could come out the next day this episode comes out. So this episode could come out today. The next episode could come out tomorrow, or this episode could come out tomorrow, and the next episode could come out a week tomorrow. I'm not sure how this podcast schedule is going to work. I just sort of do it when I can, do it when I feel like it. But yeah, Nick Nelson's character development is awesome. They never really specify what he was like before all this, but it seems to me like he was just sort of there. Obviously, the development of him then coming out as bi to his mum. Can I just say, Olivia Colman, I think her name is, the actress that plays Nick's mum. The fact you aren't coming back from the movie makes me a little bit less excited for the movie, because you are one of the best actresses in that show and in general. I love you in The Roses. I loved you in everything else I've seen you in. I love you in Heartstopper. I saw her talking about Heartstopper recently with a guy on TikTok. Again, I'm not going to remember his name, but I love that guy on TikTok. He interviews people and he's just kind and he's a lovely person. And I would love to meet him. And I'm really looking into other graphic novels like Heartstopper to read. Maybe not about the same thing, but just graphic novels. Because, as you know, I'm a very big comic reader, and I just got back into graphic novels, and I'm listening to audiobooks and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about how much I love Heartstopper to sort of give you how excited I am for the movie. So I don't just come up here and be like, oh, the movie was so good. I wanted to give you a little bit of background info, and talk about everything I've been doing to do with Heartstopper. If there's anything else I need to talk about. It's literally so that he maybe get a little emotional. We'll leave that part out. I think that's pretty much everything I have to talk about. I just wanted to say sort of I love it in every single format there is. I love the books, I love the shows, I'm loving the audiobooks I listen to. The voices are beautiful. I love every character. I can't remember what Solitaire is about, because if it's about Tao, I might have to leave it because I don't like Tao, the character. And also, can I just say, again, I don't know his name in the slightest. I don't mean to disrespect him, but whoever plays Ben in this show, I'm sorry if you get loads of hate, because your acting is phenomenal and your character is atrocious, but I love your acting. I just think he gets too much hate for what he does because he's just a great actor. We're going to start a new segment on this podcast. We're just going to talk about my last 4 watched on Letterboxd. This is my new segment. My last 4 watched. Let's do this. Right. This was going to be one of the main podcast topics. I watched Obsession. I know. Obsession is fantastic. This is okay. We're gonna have to start a jingle for this because this is a new segment. This is my new segment. We're gonna call this last 4 watched, or Letterboxd time. Letterboxd time. So time for Letterboxd time. First we have Obsession. We'll go from the 4th thing I watched to the most recent thing. So 4th thing I watched was Obsession. Obsession is fantastic. Can I just say, if you decide to go to my Letterboxd and look at my review on Obsession, I had to put a disclaimer that I was joking because I decided to make a joke about the film, and I saw a lot of people making a real opinion that was similar to what I said as a joke, so I had to put a little disclaimer on that, because basically what I said was, as a joke, I said, I'll read my whole review. I said, Bear is the most accurate depiction of yearning for someone. I was thrashing in my seat. This is uncanny. I meant that bit before the One Wish Willow, and then as a joke after I finished the film, I put Bear is the issue. He got what he wanted and immediately started fumbling. All that shit was so sexy, with the exception of one or two things, brackets. But he couldn't handle all that woman. What a poor showing from him. Now that was a joke. Obviously, he is the villain. I'm going to say this loud and clear. Bear is the villain of Obsession. 110%. There is no doubt in my mind that Bear is a bad person. But I seem to have a quite nuanced view on this. My view on this movie is Bear did nothing morally wrong until he essayed her. Bear did nothing wrong up until essaying her. Then he's a horrible character, and I hate him. Bear is a bad person in this film, but making a wish to something you didn't think would work doesn't make you a bad person. But then as soon as the One Wish Willow works, he starts to become a horrible person. He's selfish, he is horrible, and he is the villain of this film, and Nikki is the victim. I just wanted to get that out of the way. It's a fantastic film. It's got some great horror. It's spooky as frick. The acting in it is phenomenal. I'm not going to be able to pronounce Nikki's actress's name, but I will look at it. Nope. I'm not going to pronounce that. I do apologise. But I mean, all well. Session is fantastic. As everyone has been saying, I'm so glad I got to watch it. I wish I went to go see it in the cinema, but I couldn't because I'm not old enough. What can you do? It feels like a modern film, if you know what I mean. The director is clearly very talented, and he will clearly go on to do many things. And The One Wish Willow is an extremely interesting premise. I can't wait to see more, and he did say that he wants other directors to have a stab at it, which I think is great. The third most recent thing I watched was Jackass 3D. Now, I am a huge Jackass fan. I've seen all the films many, many times. I am currently watching the TV show. I've seen the first season. I do intend to watch the other two, and I do intend to watch Jackass Best and Last when I get the chance. Can't go see it in the cinema because I'm not old enough. When it comes to streaming, I'll definitely buy it. Me and my dad will watch it. I have trouble talking about Jackass films in like a critical sense because I can never normally remember what stunts fit into which film. They sort of blend into one in my head. I'll just read this is a short review because I've seen this film many times. It just says, you can tell the budget went up, so now they can do dumb, deadly, and expensive stunts. Jackass 3D is great. I think it is. I can't remember. I'm rewatching every Jackass film before Jackass Best and Last, and I can't remember where I put this on the list. I'm ranking them. I think Jackass 3D is the best of the first three. Let me watch Forever, and then I will let you know the four main one ranking. But Jackass 3D is the best one so far. It's got some of the best stunts in it. I won't talk about them because they're a bit disgusting. But Jackass 3D is great. I know this review isn't as long as Obsession, so that's because I can't remember most of the stuff in Jackass because they all sort of blend together in mind. Next, we have Little Miss Sunshine, which, oh my god, was fantastic. It's a 5-star movie in my head. I watched it the first time not too long ago, and oh my god, it was beautiful. Again, we will read you the review. I just said, why does no one talk about how Steve Carell dropped the performance of a lifetime as a mentally ill gay? They should have hired me. I wasn't born yet, but they could have waited. The end of this movie is one of the funniest scenes in history. Now, Little Miss Sunshine is sad and funny and everything. Steve Carell drops a monumental lifetime performance. If Steve Carell did Little Miss Sunshine, nothing before, nothing after, and dipped out, he would be. He is a fantastic actor. He's already a fantastic actor. But I feel like this is a performance and a half. Paul Dano obviously also drops a fantastic performance. I'm not sure from an acting standpoint whether not speaking makes your performance easier or harder. I'm going to guess harder because everything is in the facial expression. And everyone else obviously drops a great performance. The little girl whose actress is... Give me 2 seconds. I believe the actress is Abigail Breslin. Great, obviously. The ending scene is fantastic when they're all dancing on the stage. Another great, fantastic film. We have 4 good films. None of these 4 films are bad. I gave Obsession 4.5 stars, Jackass 3.5, 3D, sorry. Jackass 3D, 5 stars. Little Miss Sunshine, 5 stars. And Wayne's World is my most recently watched film. I gave 3.5 because I rewatched it. I do love Wayne's World. It's a classic. It's one of those comedies that everyone knows, some way, shape, or form. My review is, I think if I was knocking about in 1992 and I saw this film for the first time, I think I'd laugh myself into a coma and then immediately respawn and start quoting it obnoxiously to everyone. I just think it's a classic comedy that it's just, there's nothing not to love. It's not a particularly fantastic film, that's why it's only 3.5, but it's just a staple in the comedy world, Wayne's World. Wayne's World, party time, excellent. If you haven't seen Wayne's World, then something's wrong. You don't need to watch it a billion times. It's just that film that is just great. It's just fantastic. It's not Oscar worthy. It's not a deep rooted emotional film. It's just it's really funny. And that's all you really need sometimes is a bit of Wayne's World. I think that's going to be the end of this episode today. So yeah. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I don't know when I'll be back. I know there was a long gap between episode 2 and episode 3. Hopefully the next episode will be soon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'd love to hear out how your day was, how the rest of your days are, how yesterday was, how today was, and I'd love to hear how tomorrow was when tomorrow comes. If you want to support this podcast, it's on Spotify or YouTube, whichever one you're listening on. There's a TikTok, my Letterboxd, Charlie0305, and as always, my short film, Made in Progress, is in my Letterboxd bio. It's on YouTube for free for you to watch and rate on Letterboxd. I'd love that. If you could do that, that'd be lovely. Have fun. Have a nice day. Have a nice week. Have a nice month. Have a nice year. Goodbye.